So this is our new XR5 remote control for the X1 platform. And as I said, the whole thing is a cloud-based platform. And what that means is that when I click the button on this remote, there's an RF command that travels from this remote to the device. From the device over the cable modem, it talks back to our servers in the back end. The back end does some processing based on the state and actually sends down the UI that says, this is what you should render for that user, and then it pops up on the screen. And so all that happens when I press the button. So just that quickly. There's nothing that's published to the box. There's no metadata on the box. There's no application on the box. It's all really fully hosted in the network. And the appeal obviously is we can do a rich user experience, and this is the X1. This is the original version of the product that we launched 2 years ago. Actually, this is the version that we launched last year at NCTA here. The version we called ICE. And then what I'm going to do now, just to give you an idea of what you can do with the X1 platform, I'll take you into the application, some of the features in a minute. But to give you an idea of the power of moving to the cloud, new versions of the product. I'm going to switch to the next version of X1. And so switching is just like going to a different URL. There's no place for the user to type it in here, but what I'll do is I'll just say yes. I'm going to upgrade to the new version of X1. Rather than being a truck roll, but rather than being a new device, I click yes. And so this screen users don't normally see. This actually shows you all the different versions of X1 that we have in test. So these are development versions. Every day when developers go home, they get to run the version of X1 they worked on that day at their house. So I'm going to select the current version, which is what we called codenamed X2, and Brian Roberts announced last year at NCTA. And just that quickly, I've switched. So now I've upgraded my whole guide. That was it. I can switch back, I can switch forward, I can switch to new versions. In fact, there's some next generation X1 features that we're showcasing over there that you can talk about, but this is the version that our customers have access to today. And unusual for cable, we allowed customers to opt in. So the previous version was what they had when they got installed. We just launched this new version in December, and we made it available to all customers in January, and they can switch on their own. Which means that upgrading the product looks a lot more like upgrading to a website than it does upgrading like a version of the guide. So just like when there's a new version of Twitter or a new version of Facebook, users can opt into it for a certain period of time and decide if they like it. The idea with the new version of X1 was really to take all the things that we learned from the first version and just do more of it. So what you see in terms of design is a lot more simplicity. Taking a lot of clutter off the screen, minimizing the user interface. So if you look at things like the guide here, it's just a lot larger type, a lot simpler typography, a lot cleaner in terms of the lines, as well as a lot more features that we wanted to bring forward. For example, you'll notice integration with Twitter, so we're going trending now for all of your shows. So you get a little buzz meter that tells you if the show is trending. Similarly, let's see here. If you look at things like movies, like 300, you get the Rotten Tomato buzz meter. And so these were features that were available if you went into the info panel before, and what we did was draw them a little bit more to the surface. Similarly, we introduced a bunch of different guide views. So if you want, obviously linear television consumption is still what most of our users do. So if you want to do linear television consumption, there's an all channels view, there's an HD view, you can look at your favorites, but there's also other views like trending. And so now this is using both usage information that we have around the X1 platform to tell you what programs are trending. Apparently the Chew is really hot. And later, The Bold and the Beautiful and NFL Insiders are hot at 12:30. And similarly, you can look at other guide views, right? There's a movies view, there's a sports view, and even things like a kids view. And this sort of what we're trying to do with X1, and kids view is a great example, is we really wanted to invert the user experience, right? Most products think about parental controls, and the parental controls are about the parents limiting the children. And what we wanted to do when we thought about kids in X1 was how do you empower the kids to watch what they want to watch, which is really the notion here. Similarly, if you look at the X2 user experience, obviously we continue to have a very rich on-demand area for browsing content. So we have a category called features that allows you to do promotional content. So things like looking at all of Cosmos, and you can see episodes. You can record it. You can set it as a favorite. You can also see shows that are more like this, and you can even pivot to things like Cast and Crew very easily. And so you can see other shows that Seth MacFarlane is involved with. The other thing we wanted to do with X1 was also think about saved very differently. So obviously people use the DVR today. It's very, very popular. In fact, with the X1 platform, we're seeing a much, much higher attach rate for DVR service than we see with our normal service, just because it's so much more capable. So there's a For You section that shows you things that you recently watched. And there's also some recommendations that happen because of it. So because you watch The Walking Dead, because you watched The Great Gatsby, you get these other recommendations that are related to the things that you've watched and we think that you like. Obviously, there's a normal recordings list that you can get to. Additionally, you can see things that are scheduled. You can look at your favorites. I don't have any favorites set. We'll set some in a minute. And you can also do purchases. So one of the other things that we launched across our footprint, as well as on X1, was the ability to do what we call electronic sell-through. So doing purchases and other things for content. For those of you who haven't seen X1, we really tried to innovate at every level of the product. So for example, even things as small as the last button. It used to be when you hit last, you pivoted between your two active channels. With X1, we actually show you the last 9 things that you've watched, whether they're on demand, linear, recorded, whatever. So it's very, very easy for you to go between the last 5 sports programs you watched, watching this DVR asset while you're going in and out of commercials on a linear program. Or anything you want. Anything you watch appears in the last 9. Similarly, we tried to make search very, very easy. And we actually do offer a voice search for the iOS and Android applications, so you can actually do voice search as well, which I'm not going to demonstrate here. But we wanted to even make the core product of search easier. So for example, if I want to find movies with Tom Hanks in it, I can just do a search for Tom Hanks. And with 4 characters, I've identified Tom Hanks shows, right? And the way that works is it's just like, it's kind of a phone number search. Just like you type in 1-800-XFINITY, you don't like multi-tap and try to find the characters, you just type in the characters that you want. So I did it for Tom Hanks, but you can also do it for networks. So for example, I can search for a Game of Thrones or HBO, and I can see all of the HBO channels and what's on now and what's on next on the HBO channels. And similarly, I can do it for, in fact, I'll do Game of Thrones as an example, right? I can also do it for shows. And so with a couple of key clicks, and we're finding between 3 and 4 key clicks, you can find almost anything in your entertainment database. And the reason that it works is that it's not searching the whole English language, right? It's searching for the entertainment assets that we know about. And so it becomes very, very easy to in fact, I'll do Family Guy again. It becomes very easy then to find a show that you like and then pivot into something like an episode guide. And with your episode guide, what you can see is all the content is available for you, right? So on television, we have looks like roughly 10 seasons of Family Guy that are available to you. Some of them are available on demand, some of them are available on linear television, and if I've recorded any through DVR, and if I've saved any, those would also be available here in this unified episode guide. And so it makes it very, very easy to binge watch and to pivot. We indicate on if you watch a show, there'll be a little thing that says you watched that particular asset, and so it makes it very easy to follow all of these shows and unlock all that content that you have access to that you might not otherwise be able to access. And then finally, I'll wrap up here with some of the application stuff that we've done. We're still really just exploring the beginnings of what the applications mean. We really don't want to just crap a whole bunch of applications on television. We're trying to be very measured in our approach to this. So there's an X1 Insider app that will tell you features of the X1 that are coming out every week, and every month we ship new features to the X1 platform. So this is one way for consumers to keep up. We have a sports application that's been, it's probably one of our more popular applications, and enables you to do discovery of sporting content. Wow, that's slow. There we go. Oops, sorry, my bad. Go back to that sports app. Oh, and obviously we do a recent, this is a theme we do throughout the product, is we have recent networks that you've watched, recent kid shows that you've used, and obviously recent applications. So it's very easy for you to get back to the applications. I don't know why that one's, well, this is how you know it's live. So this one, in this case, you're looking at the MLB teams. And so you can see games that were on and games that are going to be on. This is NHL, so and we did something actually very exciting with the Olympics here. We had all the different sports in the Olympics in this sports application, and we found about 15% of people watching the Olympics were doing it using the sports application. And when you pivot into a show, if it were live, you'd be seeing live scores and live stats and what the current status of things were. Similarly, when you look at the application space, I won't demo all the applications. You guys can take a look at them here. We have an X1 voicemail app that allows you to watch, read and view all of your voice and listen to all of your voicemails on the television and manage it. We have a My Account application that lets you look at your bill and pay your bill and deal with all of your account stuff and check your appointments and all that sort of stuff. There's a home security application which I'd encourage you to check out, which allows you to set all the stuff in your house, and it's a fantastic screen for accessing the home security features. There's weather, there's horoscopes. We have a photos application, which I'll dive into really quickly here, and this allows you to have Facebook, Instagram, or Flickr photos, so you can take a look at them quickly and peruse them. There's an application called Movie Night. There's in fact, there's an application that we announced today at the show. We announced My Family Finder and some media sharing applications as well. I encourage you guys to check out the demos for. And like I said, it's still the early days of applications. We are finding that people are consuming them. About 65-70% of people are using applications. When we launched the product, that was closer to 20-25%. And so we're trying to be very measured and careful about it. But we do think this really expands the definition of what you can do on your television. Okay, I think that's all I had demo-wise. Questions or comments? I would definitely encourage you to check out the My Media Sharing stuff, the next generation X1 pieces, as well as Connected Home.